Alright, what's up everyone? The Mummy Dust here, so I'm back from Montreal. I did participate in the Safari Cup, and it was hosted in the Great League. Water, ground, rock, normal, bug, grass, poison, flying type. You can only have two of each type, and then limitations, you can only include two of the following: Azumarill, Swampert, Vigoroth, Venusaur, Meganium, Tropius, Fortress, Wormadon Trash, Skarmory, Altaria, Bastodon, and Probopass. So basically, you can only have two of the really good things. It's kind of like the regional meta because there are so many different types involved. So it was very interesting with those restrictions. It made everybody's team like extremely balanced. It was really hard, almost impossible to make your team like completely weak to one type, just because you do have to include, or you can only use two of each type. So things that were really common were double flying type, Altaria, Skarmory, and then Skarmory and Bastiodon, which were my two limited picks. So we'll get into my team here in a second. Overall, it was a really exciting tournament. There were a lot of people there. It was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of people, that I've been battling, put some names, some faces to the names. So it was really exciting time. So it was live streamed. So if you guys want to check it out, I believe it was live streamed by Miss Mystic. So you guys can go and check that out. It was really exciting to watch all the people who were seeded number one do their battles. Very, very skilled. So someday, I hope to be there. Until then, we're gonna go over some of my videos, or some of my videos, some of my battles. Anyways, and we can kind of see, what I did wrong, what I did well. We're not going to go over all of it as it ran for 8 rounds, so we're just going to go over a few of my battles. But first, we're going to get into my team. I chose Ivysaur, Skarmory, Lantern, Alolan Muck, Poliwrath, and Bastiodon. So my main core was Skarmory, Poliwrath, and Bastiodon. I thought that they would handle, most of the flyers very well, especially Altaria, because Poliwrath has access to the Power Up Punch, Ice Punch combo, and he could take out a Bastiodon and an Altaria, or things like that. I did include a Alolan Muck to help me handle possibly Tropius as well, even though I kind of realized that was not a very good choice. I wish that a couple things I would have changed. I wish that Alolan Muck was Munchlax. Munchlax handled the flyers very well, could also beat up on the tanks, surprisingly beats Bastiodon in some scenarios, beats Probopass in all scenarios. So that's pretty crazy. And then I also chose Lantern for opposing Skarmory and Bastiodons, which I played a lot. Ivysaur for some of the heavier water type teams, Azumarill, things like that. I also didn't face any of those, so unfortunately a lot of Pokemon on my team kind of ended up being useless, but I wish that I would have run Wishcash instead of Poliwrath, and then Munchlax instead of Alolan Muck, and maybe changed Bastiodon to a different flyer, either Tropius or Altaria. They did have very, very good matchups, and if you ended up going up against another flyer, you could almost take it out. Obviously, Tropius has a weaker matchup than Altaria would in a Mirror versus, a Skarmory or another Altaria. So those are my picks. Ivysaur running Sludge Bomb, Power Whip, Skarmory, normal movesets for those, Lantern, Alolan Muck with Acid Spray, Dark Pulse, Poliwrath, Legacy, Mudshot, Power Up Punch, Ice Punch, and Bastiodon Storm, normal one. So, believe it or not, I actually got to face against Pokemon Master Holly in the first round. So, she leads with Charizard and then switches into Bastiodon. I led with Lantern, and we're just going to stay in because it's a positive matchup for us. The Stone Edge and the Smackdowns do hurt. So it's not as favorable of a matchup as you would think in the 2 shield scenario. If you get to the 1 shield scenario or you have a Hydro Pump, it's a little bit better. But here we're going to basically lose our Lantern. I should have shielded there because I actually could have lost this like pretty handily. Props to Pokemon Master Holly for giving PvP a try. Hopefully she stays at it, so she can see in a scenario like this she could have beat me. So instead of staying in with the Toxicroak, if she would have switched to her Charizard, it would have been game over for me. I basically would have not been able to do anything. Toxicroak in the back to take care of my Bastiodon. But in this case, did get extremely lucky and able to get Bastiodon on Charizard, which is a huge advantage. Unfortunately, Pokemon Master Holly wanted to use a Dragonite, but she had 3 flying on her team, so she changed it to a Dragonair, and Dragonair wasn't allowed in the moveset or in the typing pool. So her team, I could see, was very, very weak to Lantern and Bastiodon and Skarmory. So I was just able to basically run those Pokemon, understanding that she was limited to basically 5 of her picks, and almost all of them were weak to that combination. So I just changed it up a little bit here. Lead with Skarmory. She leads with Charizard again, so I immediately have to get out of there. I'm going to switch to Lantern, and we're just going to go to work on the Charizard. Not worried about anything it throws here. Even if it's a Blast Burn, it'll hurt, but it's not too bad. Switches into Toxicroak, which is still an okay matchup for Lantern. And we're just going to stick it out. It was really nice to meet Pokemon Master Holly. Like I said, hopefully she sticks around with the PvP. It's going to be a huge part of Pokemon moving forward, I believe, especially when the Verse Seeker gets added in. So hopefully she sticks around and keeps practicing. She definitely could have beat me in the first game. So here we're going to end up actually going into a worst case scenario, especially if she's going to post a video online. I apologize that we ended up in this scenario, but it just tends to happen. Bastiodon v Bastiodon Snorefest. So I have 2 shields. She has 1 shield. This is going to take a while. So I apologize that you guys have to watch this. I sped everything up to 2 times speed just to get through the videos a little bit faster. Even though I didn't include all of the rounds, I'm just going to go over my main mistake that I really didn't like. My battle with Pokemon Master Holly, which was a ton of fun, and one of my best plays that I actually made. Two of my matches with my best plays in it. So moving forward, hopefully I can learn to deal with the big tournament scenario a little bit better. I think I did extremely well. I didn't let my losses get to me too much. But here she brings in Charizard, and finally Bastiodon is able to take home the victory. So we did beat Pokemon Master Holly 2-0. Then we move on to Mario Master 420, and this is where I did extremely well. I basically predicted that he had to lead with his Ludicolo based on what my team was. So he led with Ludicolo, switched to Skarmory, farm up a little bit, and switched to my Lantern, and then we're just going to go to town. Lantern obviously completely wall Skarmory, but yeah, so I definitely predicted that he needed to lead the Ludicolo, so I led Skarmory, got extremely lucky, predicted it correctly, and here we're going to go to town on the Skarmory. We are going to have to shield here. So back to the big tournament scene, lag was a huge issue with it, and people, if anything small happened, it ends up being a big deal. So it just kind of sucks. So there were a lot of matches that had to be redone, things that were frustrating for everybody involved. So hopefully some things like that get corrected moving forward. But other than that, it was a really great experience. So if you haven't been in a big tournament yet, I highly recommend trying one out. And here we're just going to take out the Ludicolo, and the Steelix is going to come back in and double Sky Attack it. So there we go. Missed the bubble there. So flying is definitely like one of the more frustrating ones, and fighting too. They're not. Fighting is a little bit more random, but flying isn't as big of a deal. But we're going to take home the victory in round 2, battle number 1. So look at the team again. Do realize I'm extremely weak. I knew that my team was weak to Vigoroth. It's kind of hard to fill those holes. So I'm going to lead, I believe, with Skarmory again. Or it was Ivysaur. It's either Skarmory or Ivysaur, because Both of those were my favorable matchups. Skarmory, Ivysaur, and Poliwrath were actually the best against that. So I did get Ivysaur on the Vigoroth. It's still obviously not like a huge victory or anything. Vigoroth is a pain in the butt. It is. It's so hard to deal with. It's just a pain. So he's actually going to swap out, I do believe. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that Power Whip off in time to not have to burn that shield. But we are losing, so I'm going to switch into Skarmory, which is a neutral matchup, and he brings in Steelix. So we're just going to try and hit a couple Flash Cannons on Steelix to do as much as we can. And then we're going to go probably back into Ivysaur, or I think I had Lantern. So I could have switched to Lantern, I think, at that point against Vigoroth, and probably been in a better scenario. But I think his last Pokemon is probably Ludicolo, so he could have just swapped in Ludicolo and it would have just wrecked my Lantern, which is about what happened. So there goes Lantern. Just an unfortunate scenario for me. Obviously, I could have won if I played better, but I did not. So, and here, I just let it go through because he's got Vigoroth in the back. He was kind of surprised about that. I could have tried to play it out and seen what happened, but I definitely felt like it was a loss. Next time moving forward, I should definitely, keep using my shields. And I noticed that's one of my major flaws is I don't use a shield, and then sometimes I'm like, oh man, now I'm gonna, now my Pokemon's low health, I should have used that shield. But we're just double checking the team here. Figured that he would probably go back to the Ludicolo lead. But I definitely knew the Pokemon that I wanted to use against this team were the ones that I've already been using, so we're just going to switch that order up. Predicted, I thought that Ludicolo would be the lead, so I'm going to lead Skarmory. He leads Vigoroth, which is still a okay matchup for me, and we're just going to go to work. And I could see a switch coming, so I switch into Lantern here, and I just didn't count correctly, and I get Earthquaked. So this was my huge mistake of the tournament. I really could have started off 2-0 and been, much in a much better mindset. All I had to do was shield that Earthquake. But I didn't, and it cost me this game. So, sucked, but need to learn moving forward. I also don't think I realized that his Steelix didn't die in that scenario. So I thought his Steelix was dead. So we're just going to switch into the mirror match with Skarmory, and I should be able to take it home. I did have an energy lead, but lag does play kind of a factor in that kind of stuff. So there's definitely times, like if you watch the live stream and they have the, players right next to each other, you can tell that somebody lagged and the other person's like way up on energy. So there I'm like, oh wow, that Steelix was still alive, and yeah, that sucked. So pretty much GG's at this point. Skarmory with a shield on the Ivysaur. Don't know why I decided to use Power Whip that time, but it didn't make a difference. So there we go. We lost round 2. Just need to do a better job counting. Should have just, when in doubt, throw the shield. I should have just thrown the shield there. So this was the final match, actually. We're just going to show, I lost the lead, and I was able to come back from it. So he's going to switch into Bastiodon, switch into Skarmory, and in this case, you just need to throw the Flash Cannons and do as much damage as possible to this Bastiodon. Don't worry about shielding. It's just like a super positive matchup for Bastiodon. So we do get to the second Flash Cannon. We were lucky that they did use the charge move there. And then we're going to be able to come in with Poliwrath and farm this thing up a little bit. So either charge move doesn't hurt Poliwrath too much. And then in comes Tropius. We're going to have to block and then we're going to swap to Bastiodon. So Bastiodon is going to be able to do what he does and farm down this Tropius, and then have a charge move ready to go. So I think where my opponent went wrong is he locked in his Tropius. So everyone knows you don't want to lock in your Tropius because Bastiodon and Skarmory go to town on Tropius. So then he's going to bring in Lantern. I'm going to use Stone Edge, and then I'm going to swap to my Poliwrath, who has a much better matchup against the Lantern, and then I still have my Bastiodon saved. So we're just going to go straight power-up punches here. And then we're going to shield the Thunderbolt, and we're going to power-up punch again. And I thought it wouldn't kill him. Oh no, shield. Okay, so that's why I didn't farm down. He had a shield. So there, we're going to go ahead and kill it, and that's GG's for, I believe that was game 2. I think game 1 he beat me due to some lag. So here we go, game 3. Lead Ivysaur, which is a great matchup. He switches to Togekiss, and we're just going to stay in with Ivysaur because Ivysaur does resist the charms, and Sludge Bomb does super effective damage. Charm still does a ton of damage to Ivysaur, so we are going to switch to Skarmory, who also resists Charm, and we are going to go, I think I threw a Great on, nope, he shielded it. So we're just going to let this go through. I thought it was going to be an Ancient Power. I was like, it's not going to do that much damage. And then this Flamethrower, and I was like, man, I'm kind of in a bad scenario here. So we're going to go for the Sludge Bomb, and we do hit it. And then his last Pokemon is Toxicroak, and I thought for sure I was totally screwed, and we just got lucky. And Toxicroak used the Mud Bomb instead of the Sludge Bomb there, so we got lucky there. I'm going to power up punch. Back comes Lantern. We still have that shield, so we can shield the Thunderbolt, and we're just going to keep powering up. Each power up punch will do more damage than the last, and the Mud Shots start to add up. So somehow only hit a Great there. That was unfortunate, but we do have the shield to go ahead and save the day so that we can actually throw an excellent. No, I think I only hit Great again because I didn't care. He put his phone down at that point, and it was GG's. So we're going to go ahead and go into my other game that I felt like I did extremely well. So we're going to have Lantern going up against Lapras, which is pretty neutral matchup. It's just, especially the Skull Bash changes things a lot. And Ice Shard just charges up those charge moves so fast. So here I thought it was going to be a Skull Bash. It was actually a Surf, which I don't know if that was the right move, but it definitely worked out because then I got Skull Bash the next charge move, and I was like, dang. That was, I got baited perfectly there. So we are able to burn both the shields on the Lapras, which is key. And here we're going to save our shield, even though we were close. We're just going to save it because we do have Bastiodon who can beat up on Lapras. So we're not going to shield here. Either move isn't going to do too much to Bastiodon. Even though Surf is super effective, Bastiodon is, well, a tank. And in comes Toxicroak. So we're going to Flamethrower to Toxicroak and switch to Skarmory, and then now we're Skarmory mirroring, and I do have a shield, so at this point we should be able to be okay. I realized watching this again, I probably should have went with the no shield. I probably should have went for the Flash Cannon here instead of the second Sky Attack, and then we lag a little bit. But yeah, I should have went for the Flash Cannon. It would have been a better move at that point, but we're just going to switch back into Bastiodon, and then C switches back into Toxicroak, kills my Bastiodon, and then we're going to be able to farm up the Toxicroak for enough for a Sky Attack to finish off her Skarmory. So I did face a bunch of Skarmory and Bastiodon teams, which was kind of annoying. My main thing was that they had a Toxicroak instead of Poliwrath, and that tended to be an issue for me. Toxicroak actually doesn't lose as hard to Skarmory as you think it would. The counters just do a lot of damage, and you can hit, the mud bombs, pretty consistently to do, a good chunk on the Skarmory. So I wish I would have done a little more testing against Toxicroak teams. I could have brought a Charm User. That would have been really helpful as well. So there's a lot of different things that I could have done, but we're just going to have to learn from it and keep moving forward. So here we go for the final game, I believe. And we're going to go ahead and lead with Bastiodon this time because it is a good counter against her Skarmory and her Lapras, which she has been bringing to every battle. So there we go. We got the Skarmory, and we're just going to Bastiodon farm. Just keep farming. Here comes the Flash Cannon, which does a decent chunk to Bastiodon. So here we're actually going to use a charge move to try and either bait a shield or to do a little bit of chunk damage. I didn't want my Bastiodon to just get killed by Flash Cannons. So here I'm trying to switch, and it didn't work out so well for me. She switches into Lapras, and we're just going to try and do as much damage as we possibly can with the Skarmory. So we're going to shield this first Surf, and then I think we get hit by another one here. We're not going to shield this one. I was just basically trying to buy time for my Bastiodon to be able to come back in and nose punch the Lapras. So you can see I clicked on it there, it wasn't ready, click on it again, bam. Stone Edge, nose punch, GG. And it was still pretty close. So bringing my Skarmory, hoping to hit a Sky Attack, but charge move ready to go, does deplete the energy on the Toxicroak, so we are able to take the matchup with the Lantern. Still so close. I mean, I don't think a Mud Bomb would have killed me at that point, but it definitely could have. So there's GG's for that game. And we're going to go ahead and reveal there was an 8-way tie for first. Congratulations to Clash and Cliff and Simply Moxie. They were in one of my group chats that I'm in, as well as everybody else. Guan ended up winning with the tiebreaker. There was just not enough time. It was already, as you can see, like 3 in the morning when it finally ended. So congratulations to everybody who played in the tournament. It was a ton of fun. I was super happy to meet a bunch of people that I've been battling and talking to and strategizing with. So it was really nice to meet you all. If you guys did like the video, please make sure you like and subscribe. And I will see you guys, hopefully, in the next big PvP tournament or in my next video.